Hello crafty friends and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be creating a very clean and simple card background using some pretty glittery bows. I wanted to show you that a little die cut piece is not just meant to be focal point on your card fronts, but we can also use them to create beautiful backgrounds. Before we take a look at the card and the supplies that I used to create the card, I would really appreciate if you could take a minute to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so that you get notified every time I post a new video. I will be using the Pretty Bows Wafer Dies and the new and exclusive Simon Says Bubblegum Pink Glitter Cardstock. Now, both of these products were part of the Simon Says Tweet Friend March 2025 card kit. The Pretty Bows die set includes 5 wafer-thin dies, each having a unique design. You could use these as standalone embellishments, or you could also mix and match them and layer them up to create your own layered focal point. The Bubblegum Glitter Pink Cardstock is 105-pound heavyweight cardstock, and well, this is a non-shedding glitter paper. So, well, we will be using that to create our die cut focal point, but these would also be perfect to cut out our sentiments too. Now, since I was creating my card background using the bows, I used all 5 of the bows and cut it out using the pink bubblegum glitter cardstock. Now, I like to use my Spellbinder's Platinum 6 die cutting machine for this, and even though the bows were really thin and had a very intricate and detailed design, I love how beautifully it managed to cut out even the thinner bows. Now, if you don't have glitter cardstock, you could use any pink cardstock or, well, any colored cardstock of your choice and die cut the bows. And then you can add some silver shimmer spray or use any glitter brush pen to create the sparkle effect. Now, usually for my cards, I like to use my Spectrum Noir glitter brush pen that gives an amazing shine to my die cut pieces. Now, you could also use different colored cardstocks and layer up these bows. That would definitely give a very different and unique look to your cards. Now that my die cuts are ready, it's time to assemble these onto our background panel. I decided to keep my card pretty simple and add these bows on a plain white card panel instead of using any embossed background or a colorful cardstock. I cut this panel to be 4 by 5¼ inches, which is slightly smaller than a standard A2 size card base. Now, before we stick all of these little bows, I wanted to make sure that I get the placement right and also have enough space in between those bows to stamp my sentiment. Well, if you don't want to stamp your sentiment, you could also use a sentiment strip or a die cut sentiment. I decided to stamp the sentiment, for which I will be using the Graceful Flowers stamp set, which has some really beautiful sentiments. I really love the font on these. I will be stamping Wishing You the Best sentiment nestled between these die cut bows. I took the panel and placed it into my stamping tool. You will notice that the bows are still in place. Well, they are not stuck yet. This will be a guide for me to know where I need to stamp my sentiment and get the spacing right. I like to use my grid transparency sheet by Simon Says Stamp to make sure that the sentiment is stamped in a straight line and is perfectly aligned to the card front. Once I get the position of the sentiment right, I will remove the grid transparency sheet and the die cut pieces, and using the VersaFine Onyx Black ink, I will stamp my sentiment. Even a clean and simple card needs some splatters. So after stamping my sentiment, I took the panel to my splatter box and added some black watercolor splatters all over the panel. I did cover my sentiment with a scrap piece of paper. Well, after I did the black, I decided to add the slightest hint of pink as well. Well, not as much as the black, but you will see a few pink splatters all over the panel. I set this aside to dry completely while we work on our die cut pieces and the card base. Now, if you notice, out of the 5 bows, 2 of them are pretty thick while the other 3 are thin and intricate. I decided to pop up the thick bows using some foam squares and use liquid glue to adhere the thinner ones. You could also layer these up to add some dimension. It's now time to assemble our card front. Now, earlier in the video where we were the placement of the bows, I decided to take a picture of it for reference. So now I clearly know where each of those bows go. That makes the assembly of the card front a lot more easier. Like I mentioned before, I used my Barely Art liquid glue to adhere all of the three thinner bows directly onto the panel. And well, for the thicker bows, I already had my foam tape. Now, since these die cut pieces are so small and intricate, I like to use my reverse tweezers while I add them on the card front. Now, I feel this gives me a lot more control with the placement as compared to if I was doing it directly with my hands. Now, once I was done adhering all of these die cut pieces, it was now time to mount the card or this panel onto a card base. I used some foam tape to stick the panel onto a light pink card base. This color I thought matched perfectly with the bubblegum pink glitter cardstock. And well, that's a look at our finished card. I love how beautiful this card turned out. A very clean and simple card with so much shine and sparkle. Well, I feel that's the perfect combination. I love how pretty this is, and I had to recreate this card design in a different color. So I decided to use a beautiful blue glitter cardstock by Your Paper Insider for my bows and recreate this design. I love how this looks. I created a birthday card and well, I am really happy with the end result. I hope you had fun watching today's video and got inspired. All the supplies that I used in today's video will be found linked in the description box below. Note that all of the links are affiliate links, which means that if you shop using one of my links, I get a small commission at no cost to you guys. Thank you again for joining me today. Until next time, stay safe.